Oh wow, what a novel idea. What version of socialism, communism do we want to try today, Chicago? Chicago Mayor Soy Johnson, LL Uncool J 2.0, is floating the idea of municipally owned grocery stores. What could go wrong? That seems totally fine. Let's get the same organization that's in charge of the DMV to run what cuts of meat and what fruits should be in stock and how to price them. You would only need one singular brain wrinkle to recognize that this municipally owned grocery store would lose money constantly and would never be closed, obviously because of the optics. So it would become a complete loss and cash suck and would be paid for by all the taxpayers. A food desert exists because there's not enough profit to be made in that area, meaning that the people don't have enough money to make enough profit in that zone, or theft or crime or other reasons might be to blame. If an area is economically depressed, it can't support a business like this. People go and businesses go where there is money to be made. So if there was money to be made in these so-called deserts, the stores would be there. The only way to have a store there would be for it to be subsidized by all the other taxpayers. But because everyone in the bureaucracy is dumb and doesn't understand how socialism, communism, capitalism, and free markets work, they think this is actually a real solution. Here's a real solution as to how you could have the free market take care of this, as they do every other thing way better than the bureaucracy. First, you make sure that there's enough legal protection in these regions to prevent shoplifting, crime, and theft, graffiti, etc. Open air drug markets, homelessness, etc. By cleaning up those streets, legally speaking, you would make it more likely for people to want to live there, be willing to move there. It would raise the rents, it would raise the quality of the storefronts and the people in the neighborhood just on its own. Then you make tax incentives for building there, tax incentives for building apartment buildings there, for investing there, for buying or remodeling properties there, and other tax incentives for starting businesses there. You help to make up the delta of risk that exists because these places are not a place where money can be made right now. You can do so by protecting them and by incentivizing human beings, capitalists, to go and invest in those places. Supermarkets and grocery are some of the lowest margin businesses that exist. They make 1% to sometimes 1.5% on a piece of food that they sell. They could sell you an apple for $1 and they may make 1 cent on it. A cent. The only way that a grocery store or a grocery store chain makes money is through economies of scale. They have to have lots and lots of grocery stores where they have this set processes, accounting, back office, marketing, etc. Step 1, you let law enforcement do its job. It cleans up the streets, not as much crime. You create tax incentives for homes and businesses to remodel their storefronts, remodel the front of their homes. Property values go up, house values go up, business values go up. It looks like a nicer place to live. You incentivize business owners, investments in that area, and then people start to show up. If there was a food desert in reality, there's a place where there's no one selling food. A person that sells food that has grocery stores would want to open a market there because there's no other place for them to buy from. There's scarcity, which means they can suck up all the business. The only reason you wouldn't do it would be because the risk or the loss would not make up the difference in margin. So there's a reason the food deserts aren't there. They didn't just never have them and no one was never even willing to try. It's just that they didn't believe with the theft or the crime or the whatever that they would be able to make a profit, so they don't invest there. This is where bureaucracy could actually do its thing. But instead of actually doing that, allowing individuals to profit by taking the risk and investing the money, they're just going to steal all the taxpayers' money to just build a store on their own. A store that will inevitably lose money, be subsidized by the taxpayer, and probably have really low quality food, standards, everything. And because of the optics of the government shutting down a grocery store in a supposed food desert, it will never close. It will just bleed and hemorrhage money forever, bleeding the taxpayers dry. And if it was really that bad, people in the area would likely just steal from it and use the money elsewhere. The reason that the food desert exists in the first place is likely because of that reason. So what's to say that because this store exists that anything would change? Of course it wouldn't. And since all the people that would be working for this supposed store would be employed by the government, knowing that they could never be fired and the store would never be closed, what incentive would they even have to do it right? They wouldn't. There would be no profit motive. There would be nobody overlooking it, except for bureaucrats that are spending your money on somebody else. A complete and total cash suck, socialism, communism, tried again. But because your average citizen doesn't understand the basics of free market economies and capitalism, they'll actually think that this is a good idea, or that you're somehow helping people. You give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. This is a free handout and nothing different. If there was a way that a business could make money in one of these neighborhoods, they would. That's how free market capitalism works. To reiterate again, if such a store could turn a profit, it would exist. But it doesn't, because the bureaucracy, the state, the city doesn't protect that business owner's rights and interests, which would in turn serve all of these people that now have nothing. You've seen this happen in major cities all across America, where even Walmart stores are closing because of theft. This is a perfect example of where the bureaucracy should do the thing that only a bureaucracy can do, which is create an environment where businesses and people can thrive by protecting their property rights and the rights for them to run a business in a safe location. The individual businesses can't do anything about the crime in the streets and the enforcement. Individual businesses can't do anything about the tax burden and regulation that's imposed by the bureaucracy. If the bureaucracy just does what it's supposed to do, the free market will do what it's supposed to do, and everyone will rise at the same time. But nope! They just want a socialism, communism, and subsidize everything. And here's a newsflash. It will not work. It never has, and it never will.